Hey everybody, welcome back to another recap of 90 Day Fiancé the other way.
Hmm.
Uh, I gotta be honest with you, this was boring.
Oh, it's fuck.
Yeah, like I looked up and all of a sudden I was like, this is over? Really?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um,
It felt like a Love in the Paradise episodes.
yes,
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
it did. Let's get Josh and Lily out the way.
Wait,
Um,
hold on. I made
mm,
I needed to note this to tell you. So sorry. So
mm,
we know this is on YouTube. Hello. Um,
mm,
we might need to pick up one of the other iterations. So I was talking to a friend who was watching before the 90 days.
That's so funny because they just, when I was watching this, it was this big ass banner of before the 90 days on the Max.
Mm. Now listen. This is what piqued my interest because I'm like, there's always going to be mess afoot. Like, we have to pick and choose what we do, or we'll just be inundated. But she said it is a homeless white man, or a white man who claims to be homeless, who is a drag assistant by trade, who is in a relationship dating a trans Filipina woman. Um,
What, that was a word salad. Okay, so back up. That's like
I just
that's a
wanted to.
Republican nightmare.
It's
It's
oh,
a
head blown up, nuke spawned.
so it is a person, a cis white
Cis
male
white male
who is claiming to
claiming
be
to be houseless.
homeless.
We don't know if he is a couch surfer or lives in his car, but he does not have a
A house to
yeah,
live in,
on wheels
a
or
traditional
stilts or
house to live in.
otherwise. Um,
Mm-hmm.
who is dating a
Mm.
trans Filipina woman,
And this cis white man is a drag assistant.
and he is a drag assistant by trade.
Like he's an assistant to a drag queen.
Hmm. Now, he is also a cheater who is not telling the trans Filipina lady, the Filipina lady,
Mm-hmm.
that he is entertaining outside of their relationship. So, apparently, on whatever one of the most recent episodes was, he got a phone call, and it's from somebody he dealt with. And while you think they're gonna tell him they're pregnant, or one of the usual tropes, no, they call to let him know that they have gonorrhea of the throat, and he's not shocked or in awe apparently, and acknowledges that tracks because he's had a little discharge. That's it. You can sit with that and process, and then but I need to go watch this for myself, and then I just it just made me think, like, as we talk about beefing up our YouTube content, maybe we just need to incorporate. And I don't care about people coming to live in America, but I think maybe.
I don't care about that. I just hate the way Matt Sharp and them frame it. Well,
Mm,
not Matt Sharp and them frame it. It's the way the people on the show frame it. Let me say that because when I think about Paul and Carini
mm,
and
toxic
and
violence.
hell, even Michael and Angela, I think it's a
Mm,
lot of MAGA type of conversations, right?
mm-hmm.
But back to the issue at hand. Because this takes me back to a story in college.
I was like, take your time, young man.
I was an RA, and the the class that came in, the freshman class, they were just showing their clits and dicks to everybody who said "What up?" You know what I mean? And so this was the first time that I learned that you can get an STI in other places outside of your parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a young lady came up to me and was like, and I was like, okay, well, girl, maybe you should head down to the infirmary and get, and get checked out, right? Mama came back and said, hey, listen, that nigga burning, and he gave it to me in my throat. Now the problem is when she did this, or when they did this, this was in a public forum.
Yeah. Mm. Like TV.
It was, yeah, it was. She was like, that man right there.
Hey ladies,
like,
this nigga gave gonorrhea in my throat.
To my throat. Yeah, that's literally what it was. That's literally what it was.
That's crazy.
And I've never been in a situation where, like, it was, everybody did like what was that challenge where we froze in place? Everybody was just like.
Because bitch, what? First of all.
How do you come back from that? Like, how does anybody come back from that? Even as a bystander. Like, what do you do?
Dirty dick. Like, can you have to live with that for the rest of your life?
Because, and then and the issue was the fact that they were supposed to be, in a relationship, right? Because they came from high school. This is why you got to ladies, leave your man at home.
Okay, the club is full of STIs and the pocket's full grown.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was like, girl, you got over the throat to a nigga that wears neon ACG boots. But anywho, listen, Harlem is a place. That was the time of Aunt Jackie. That's how old this
is. Listen, yeah. I'm not gonna say that when I didn't first meet my husband, he did not own a brown pair of ACGs with orange and lime green trim. I'm just saying, or maybe just orange trim. It might have just been orange.
I had a lime green pair. Like but then again, at the time, it made sense for me to wear that. Now,
well, I had a pair of black ACGs, and I had to have a conversation with myself and say, "Bitch, you are not TSA. Like, take these off."
Thank you for reminding me that I need to tell you something on the main show, and you're gonna laugh about how I came to know that information and why this is together. Okay. Actually, I'll tell you now. It's about MC Light and how she is Scientologist. Because
wait, no, hold on. We are recording a main episode at this point, and we just need to get through this so we can get to the meat of the day.
Okay. Let me write this down.
Please.
MC Light. Big C.
I didn't know where that was going. That went so like that was like that episode of Family Guy where the lady's driving and she's like, "I go left now," and then like that took a hard turn. It almost crashed so many cars in traffic.
Sorry.
Oh.
ACG boots, and I was like, ooh.
Oh,
Strap
my
captain.
God. Oh.
I just, and it went to Eve, and then in the whole thing that I just, okay, fine. Okay. Josh and Lily. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this was so short.
Yeah. They learned how to dance, and that was that.
They went to a traditional Chinese dancing class. He's basically trying to show her that he loves her. And this made her feel loved.
Mm-hmm. And she all open because he finally took her out on a date.
Yeah.
I would like to end with Corona and Ingi.
Oh God, yeah.
Because that's the only thing I have thoughts about.
Okay, let's go on to James and Tatha because I am ready for them to part ways.
Just break up. Like, and I also feel like he gonna do some bullshit where he's not gonna break up with her directly, but the government will force them to break up. You know what I mean? Like via immigration, visa, that kind of thing. Because he's already soft launching a breakup.
he is soft launching a something. So they start
Well,
off. They're headed to immigration to get his visa. She's not being fully transparent about how she's feeling after their conversation, where he finally acknowledged that he doesn't want to have children. This is a dangerous game on both of their parts, and any couples that are like this. When you have hard opposing views on something like children,
polarizing.
you got one over here who the last thing you want to do in this life is create another life with a person who doesn't want to be a parent. And on the other side of things, if that is a strong desire in you, you are going to resent the fuck out of the other person if you go against what you want.
Shit out of that nigga.
You're going to look up and be 65 and livid because you went against what you really wanted. And that's a very hard place to be, right? When you love somebody, because that's not like anybody's done anything wrong or anybody's wrong for how they feel. This is just two opposite ends of the spectrum. So, then the conversation about the dog comes back up, which I think is part of what you're saying with the soft launch, because the dog can't come to the country right now. They got a rabies outbreak. So he's like, if I can't take care of a dog, how can I take care of a child? And it's tearing me up. It's tearing up my heart when I'm not with you. And so this is where, and she misses the dog, but he's the one who's like, if he can never come here, I might have to reconsider my whole life's plans. So fast forward, they go to downtown Smorgasburg, which is just a standard downtown for this part of Indonesia. Cilacap, I can't say it right, but
it was a wonderful street market with various foodstuffs.
Yes, that I would be very excited to try, and feel like it would be a game of Russian roulette.
Oh yeah.
Which is the case if you have a bunch of street carts anyway, no matter where you are.
It's Russian roulette in New York City.
Yeah, you don't know how people are preparing food.
Yeah, me and Bobby have dodged or taken a bullet getting a chicken and rice on a corner of somewhere.
After the club, you are playing a ball-headed game, but it's worth it because you're hungry.
Same, because the taco spots here, like the best taco spots are the ones on the street or the corner. You might die, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And so there's this one across from the Montana, and they take up the whole corner. Like, it's a line. Like, it is.
Oh, they're good.
I hope they don't get exposed and get put on those stupid shit like Eat LA or something and ruin it. But but it is
10 out of 10.
It has gotten to the point where I had to stop going there because you get what I mean? Because it was like, oh, all my money is going here, and I need to but the problem is everything is like $1. So like, how can I? When
I used to work at Hennessy, you already know what one of my favorite when I realized I was across the street from one of my favorite taco places.
I miss that place. It's so good.
And you should.
Now they have a whole bunch of them.
There are several, and not, I ate it every day and said, I had to physically stop myself from eating those tacos every day. Mm-hmm. Ugh, when it hits, it hits. I want a taco right fucking now.
I had made a taco today. I made fajitas last night.
Oh, I made stewed chicken
sizzle.
and callaloo. Oh, I love a yes.
Yeah, that was me. I had to hype myself up and be ridiculous. So
you need to get real extra and get you a tortilla warmer.
I should do that actually. And you know what's interesting? I consume a lot of tortillas because diet wise they're easier than bread.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's a
Mm-hmm.
good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. We gotta get through the show.
Yeah.
Basically, James soft launches the fact that he doesn't know if he wants kids, and he keeps hitting her with these hypotheticals,
He does
really
not want
signifying
children.
that he doesn't want children. And her point is, well, what's the point of us being married if we don't go have children? She was like, our family is not complete without a child because she traditionally has been conditioned to think that, having children will make a family complete, whereas James is
Mm-hmm.
like, no, it's what we make of it, you
And that's
know?
and the thing about it is neither one of them are wrong.
Correct.
If both people really want a child and feel like that is what will fully fulfill their family aside from society standards, I'm not mad at people. Some people are born to be parents. You meet people where you're like, you
Yeah.
were born to be a fucking parent. And
Mm-hmm.
then on the other side of that, if somebody, I don't disagree with, our family can look exactly like how we want that to look. Whether
Yeah.
our kid is a dog, a ferret, we don't have nothing at all, or you're a one person household, like you're still a family. So
Mm-hmm.
I want people to get more comfortable with the unconventionals, um, and not get sucked up in what the standards are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that was them.
Yeah.
Um then we have Sean and Joanne, the boxer and Big Ange.
Mm-hmm.
They pissed me off
Yeah.
because I hate this idea of you telling children you come first. I didn't want to hurt you. Whoop de whoop and blah blah blah. All these lies that they've all espoused on all these reality shows. But you didn't seem to give a fuck about what they thought when you got down to the altar, because it's one thing, right? Like,
Because they were acting like giggly children.
yeah, it's one thing like you accidentally slept together, right? It was a drunken night. That's different. You know what I mean? Y'all made a plan. Even if this was a whim, you still had to sign paperwork. And
Not
at
even
any given
that. It's
moment,
not even the marriage part anymore. It's the how long they waited.
and that was 2 years ago.
Like
That was half of a
everybody
pandemic ago.
from Grandma Donna all the way down to that wonderful child who needs to be in a Disney movie. Like
Yeah,
everybody's like, bitch, but
live
this
action
it's
great.
the secret. This is crazy.
Yeah, like, and it seems as though if they would have been upfront with everybody, this would have been easy peasy lemon squeezy. But because they chose to be weird about it, because I can't even
Yep.
see this dumb. This is super weird.
Yeah.
Like, because if in my head you wouldn't have kept this away from folks if you felt like you weren't doing if you were doing something wrong. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you felt like this was something and you felt right about it, then you would have celebrated it. You would have told everybody 2 years ago.
They're one of the few though people that we've seen in the Matt Sharp universe that both came and was like, yeah, that was a real bad decision, man. We really fucked up on that one. Like,
Yeah, and I'm glad they
they're
both
not.
were like,
This is us. This is not
right.
anybody
So,
else.
right. So here's what happens. She takes her kids out for a walk. The eldest one who's 18, the little one who's 12, and he is going the fuck through it. He is trying very hard not to call his mother a bitch, but like you can tell his heart is all on his face.
Mm-hmm.
The eldest one is just very confused, and he hits her with that. He was like, we're a bit confused because what? And this is a lot to take in. And, the youngest one is just like, why did you keep this from us? And then he asked an important question. Well, where the fuck are we supposed to fit into this?
Yeah.
And, she was like, are you moving here? Are we moving here?
Like
And so yeah, and so she tells them, like, I want Ireland to be my home base, but she's going to keep her house back in Long Island for them. Um,
So they're gonna be
and
orphans in their own
yeah, like, own
raising
home. And
themselves.
the problem is, both of them, both Sean and Joanne, keep saying, we'll have to figure it out. We have to figure it out.
But
Y'all
they
had
have
2
no
years to figure
possible
this
figure
out.
it out. Yeah. They have no,
Y'all
and
could
that,
have been.
and you can't figure it out until you tell people, because you can't just make
Exactly.
decisions.
They said, let us stay low and build. Like, girl.
What are y'all
Like,
building?
right. A house of cards, you know? So, like, he has a one-on-one with his daughter, and she's like, you need a better brain because you're a little stupid about it. And she was like, at first she was like, I was mad. I
I'm over
love the
that.
fact that she is such a well-adjusted,
Expressive,
expressive, because
comfortable.
she's still very much a child. However, she eh, has some mature opinions for her age, and
She
she let
also
him
feels
know.
safe. She clearly is raised in safe environments because she feels safe in the way that she expresses herself so boldly.
Yes, and she could probably beat her father up. So
Love that for her.
yeah. So, but she was like, I like her now, damn it, and like I would have liked for y'all to be married, but like again, don't lie to me. And she was, I forgive you, but don't lie to me no more because I'm not gonna forgive you.
Yeah, that's it. Zero chances, nigga.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then also she's like, hey, cut that stupid girlfriend shit out. Cause at this
yeah,
point now,
yeah. That's your wife.
own it. Own it.
Yeah. So then, right. So then, best friend Idina Menzel gets on the phone with Grandma Donna, right? And because Joanne was like, I'm pretty sure Noelle went to go call my mama as soon
Oh, I mean,
as this was
she's like, are
done.
they in the
And of
backseat
course she did.
texting right now? Like,
Yeah. And so they get on Skype, and Noelle tells her the business, like, this is what happened. And Grandma Donna is like, over my dead body, they move it to Ireland. So,
yeah. Yeah, both of them, like, everybody is supportive of the decision, but in shock. Everybody's
yeah.
disappointed by how long they took to tell them. So everybody's still kind of processing that information, but nobody is like against it, as we've seen many times before.
Yeah.
The problem is now the moving element, because that's a big fucking deal. And
They
on
got
top of
young
that,
kids.
each of them has to tell the other children's parent. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be an interesting conversation regardless.
Exactly.
It seems like
Exactly.
him and her mother have a pretty decent co-parenting because he didn't. Well, I appreciate the fact that he didn't speak negatively over, because nobody should. That's a red flag. But he's like, nah, she has an amazing mother, and they have a great relationship. So I'm just curious how that part of it is gonna go, and if we'll get any of that.
Yeah. Mm.
He did make me
Well,
laugh when he was in the car, though. I mean, and he's like, don't worry about calling me stepdaddy. You can just call me daddy. It's no problem.
yeah, he's funny, and
Yeah.
but it's like also, nigga,
Yeah.
I,
No.
thin ice, thin ice.
Okay.
So this brings us to our final couple, Corona and Inky. Um, I I like Corona
I don't mind her.
for well, I was about to say for a specific reason. I like Corona for the fact that she is not disillusioned into thinking that she's not a black girl. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes. Yes.
she
Yes.
is.
Yes.
I appreciate the fact that she understands and knows that she is black in this world, and that she is in a very white country, and she needs to get in front of some people,
Yes. Yeah. Literally.
that lives this life, because we're everywhere, we're everywhere. We make a community wherever we go. And so I'm glad she was able to find it. So she ends up finding Blacks in Ireland on Facebook, right? And so I think that's a wonderful idea. And so it's a group of like transplants and
Yeah.
who have moved there, all ironically for love, which we learn later.
Which,
Um,
why else would you?
outside of, unless if they were working and they started to come, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps.
I don't know what their export in Iceland is. Herring. I don't know.
Right, shark. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, you know, she's going. He's taking and dropping her off to go meet with these people, these group of blacks, right? And he's actually very supportive of this. He was like, "I'm glad she done found some people that are like-minded, so that she could help understand, in her world, what it's like to survive here." And so,
They have imports.
import or exports? I'm like, imports, I'm sure.
Oh, I was like, what comes from Iceland? I don't know.
Oh, okay. Then what comes from Iceland?
Food to meet domestic. Okay. Fresh fruit, wine, craft beer, which makes sense.
I could see them being a big exporter of beer. Yeah.
In 2022, Iceland's total value of imported food and beverages was over 762 million. Pharmaceuticals, furniture, oil and mineral fuels, and ships and boats.
Okay, those make sense. Like oils and stuff and fossil fuels. Okay.
Yep.
Well, all right. Sure. So she goes over there in her usual stripper gimmick, where
Dominatrix.
yeah, dominatrix, right? And so, but everybody there is kind of like welcoming her with open arms, and you know,
They're all
they start
comfortably black.
yeah, very comfortably black, a little weird, but
Iceland.
you know, they all start to share their stories. Like this one guy who's no longer with his spouse, he's been there, you know, ever since. And I wanted to know more about his story. I'm like, if you're divorced now,
So you stayed.
why are you still there?
Fascination.
I'm like, what does that mean for you now? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then this other lady who said she was there for 30 years. And the other ladies didn't say how long she was there, but they all like drilled into Corona's brain that she will not really survive or have a very difficult time in Iceland if she does not learn the language.
As we will see in a second, they also gave her a healthy, realistic dose of what obstacles she could face, regardless of learning the language or not. And while it may not be overt racism, nepotism plays a big part in a lot of this. And you know, and they were like, they said it they were like, if they want to make things more challenging for you, they will. It just kind of depends.
Yes.
So
I picked up on that. I was like, and I can't imagine why it wouldn't be a racist situation. It's an entire country that has nobody that really looks like me.
Right. Even if it's not overt, it would make sense for people to be like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is right, but
that's
hell,
any other country that would be like.
I remember when Tristan said he didn't see white people until he was like 12 years old. And granted, Trinidad does have white people, but for whatever reason, in his pocket, he's like, I don't have to deal with them.
Yeah.
Now, ooh, God, it gets progressively worse.
Yeah. So, like, you know, they do bring up an interesting thing about learning the language and how it's easier to learn from children. And so because children repeat things.
Yeah.
And they keep, like, drilling this idea of language in this episode for her. Because
for a reason.
She is supposed to be having a meeting about midwifery school, because remember, that's her big lifelong dream, goal, aspiration, what she's been working towards.
Yeah.
Graduated from Penn, like she is doing the damn thing. So she gets to the clinic, let's say that, the school research clinic, and she's greeted by this lady. I'm gonna call her Vunda, because I didn't know how to pronounce her name. It's like it's a lot of letters. But Vunda, sits her down, and is like, oh, okay, this is cute.
I'm sorry. This
Um,
is sounding like some sort of Nordic version of Wanda in this.
yeah. Wanda.
To
Yeah.
have it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wanda was like, listen, I think it's great you did a bunch of shit in midwifery school in the States, but that ain't have shit to do with shit here,
Yeah.
Queen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they do, where you came from, what outlaw type of learning you took, but everything that we do here, you got to get a bachelor's of science in registered nursing here in Iceland. You got to learn all this shit and get hours and everything in Icelandic. There is no English here. We do not bang with the English language like that.
So much so that she says she's never been asked before if their
Yeah.
program is translated to English. And I mean, when I tell you Corona is crumbling. And understand, imagine
Like the
uprooting your
Berlin
whole
Wall.
life and realizing you didn't do the amount of research you needed to do in order to maintain your life there or to even figure out what your timing should be. And she did acknowledge that. She did say, I clearly dropped the ball on really being thorough in how I did this and might have moved too hastily for love. But she is, everything is like, her world is crumbling. First of all, she just missed the application process by 2 weeks. And they didn't say she had to get new degrees, but they did say she had to completely learn the language and she has to be accepted into the program. And so if you are not, so she doesn't even know if now waiting another year and some change, if she'll even be accepted. That's just the time she has to wait to apply. And she's got the hurdle of definitely needing to study this language, which Corona girl, why didn't you, if you're going to be program or not, if you're going to be dealing with mostly Icelandic patients, you would think that the language should be it would have to be a requirement.
And I gotta be honest with you, this is about to sound really awful, but what makes you think that Icelandic women are going to choose you as a midwife? Not because you're not capable. I'm sure you're the best midwife, this side of Mississippi. I just can't
I
wrap
think
my head around this idea that Icelandic women are going to pick someone who they can't necessarily relate to.
I will say
Right?
this. I will say this. I hear what you're saying, but I feel like a traditional Icelandic woman, probably, perhaps not. But I feel like as we are entering an age where people have more exposure to other cultures, whether they live there or not via social media, you might have some out of the box folks who would be relieved to have an experience with somebody
Perhaps.
who is not. So I don't think that it's impossible for her to practice. I just think it's impossible
No.
for her to practice without having a full grasp of the language because this is healthcare.
Yeah, like I don't think it's purely impossible. I just think that when I think about midwifery and I think about my only experience with that is with black women, and typically black women choose midwives that they have a similar shared experience with.
Well,
Does that
also
make sense?
remember a lot of our choices come from the trauma of so we feel safer with
Healthcare.
yeah, whereas they don't have that. Theirs would be more so of a reservation of are you capable, even though hello bitch, I had to go through all the same requirements anybody else had to for this system, but they don't have the added pressure of being a black woman and not listened to in healthcare.
No.
And I'm talking about from a US experience, obviously.
No. Well, that was them.
That was that.
Yeah. Hopefully next episode, well, it will pick up because I know Dempsey and Statler are back in the next episode, being miserable, and I can't wait.
Yeah. So we'll see you all next week.
Bye.